3, 2, 1, action.
Hey everybody, the third time is a charm here with this very special episode of The Weekday, and that's actually a reference to the fact that this is the third time that we are recording this. That's how this happens. You'll notice that it's just me right now on this very special episode. Mike is not next to me. Instead, we have our good friend, Sam. Sam, thanks for joining us today, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely glad that Sam is here. So Sam actually represents one of our awesome missions partners here at Bay Hope Church. And we brought him in to kind of talk about the mission that he's serving in, the mission field that he's kind of been working with. So Sam, tell us, man, what do you guys do? Where have you been serving? What's the thing?
Yeah, no, absolutely. One of the missions, so it's kind of two missions.
But we get a 2-for-1 today.
Yeah, and it's a 2-for-1. But it's all related to Cuba. And so I'm the liaison of our sister church relationship with Cuba. And when I say our sister church, I mean Bay Hope's sister church relationship that is over 22 years old now with our Cuba sister church in Guantanamo, Cuba. The other part is my wife and I are the liaisons of Methodists United In Prayer, which actually help with all the sister church relationships in the Guantanamo district with other churches.
Okay, so how long have you been serving with both of these?
Yeah, no, great question. We stumbled into this
as you do,
as all most great things happen. Man, God just kind of pushes you into it.
Right.
About 3 years ago, and so that's when at that point we had some transition with our missions director, and we wanted to re-engage with our relationship, this 22-year relationship that Bay Hope has had with our sister church down there. And they were getting a new pastor and superintendent, and it was just a perfect time to start afresh.
Absolutely.
And we've been able to do so much ministry together, pre-COVID, of course, That little thing. And we're still working together as we can, through electronic means and encouraging and helping out financially and those kind of things. But we've worked together in doing marriage ministry. We assisted them. Actually, Bay Hope Worship assisted them with recording an album.
Really? I didn't know that.
Of Changui music, that is Guantanamo music. That was epic. That was super fun. And just collaborate with raising support for the different churches down there and the different pastors down there.
So I want to do a pre-COVID, post-COVID thing. So pre-COVID, what did a typical year of ministry look like? Like trips down to Guantanamo? How does that all work with you guys?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We actually were averaging 3 to 4 times a year.
Holy stink, I didn't know that.
Yeah, going down there. We would take different groups.
With Bay Hope people?
With Bay Hope people.
Wow.
Absolutely. We even had our young adults went down in the summer to join them, really, in their celebration, their young adult conference, that in Guantanamo would have 12 to 1,400 young people.
Jeez.
This church, our sister church actually averages, again, pre-COVID numbers, was averaging well over 1,000 people a Sunday in 2 services, in a place that only should seat about 300, but there's always 600 there. It's chaos and it's beautiful.
Where do you put them? Outside?
They're everywhere. Yeah, there's people even standing outside through the windows and peeking in, but it's insane how God is moving in Cuba.
Really?
In a place that has so much restriction and even has had so much persecution. You would think that, how is it that the church is growing? The church down there, the Methodist church down there, has been growing well over 10% year after year for the past 8 years.
So how, I guess I've seen pictures and video and footage, and I've talked to one of our former coworkers, Andre, who went down there, and a bunch of people. And he would always tell me stories of we had hundreds of people in this room that were hanging from the rafters and all this stuff, and worship was amazing and beautiful. How do they get away with it in Cuba? Because it is technically an authoritarian government. How do they get away with Methodism there?
Yeah, no, that's a great question.
Are they paying cops off, or is that...
Not exactly.
Okay.
But no. They really do try to. Yeah, they really do try to be above the law. But it's interesting when the whole revolution happened. Early 60s, late 50s. Yeah, you have to roll the R a little bit.
Sorry. I'm Polish. I can't.
No worries. Man, we'll work on that. But when that happened, it was absolutely, religion was none. This is an atheistic.
Yeah, state religion.
State religion is atheism. They teach that in the schools. No Bible in the schools, even though they teach Santeria and they teach all of, that crazy, stuff. But in the church, if a church was already established, like if a church building was already there pre-revolution, they allowed them to stay, but they were highly restricted. And actually, our Methodist conference used to be one conference. Florida and Cuba were all one conference at one point.
Really?
When that happened, obviously, communication was severed.
Sure.
And I'll be honest with you, probably the best thing that happened, at least for them, was that happened because they had to rebuild what a conference looks like.
Yeah.
And they look very different than our conference here in Florida.
Sure.
I mean, for one, they're growing at such an amazing place, and they're really focused on discipleship, as we should be, you know.
Yeah.
So they don't pay cops off, to answer your question.
Good.
But the government has relaxed a little bit over the years, and seeing that, hey, you know, it's good for people to follow their religion, though they don't endorse it, though the official stance is there is no religion, they allow it.
Okay.
So, and let me give you an example. Because our Cuba church was actually a church building pre-revolution, that looks like a church building.
Sure.
You know, it's got the steeple, it's a beautiful building. Yeah. It's a really right 2 blocks away from city center.
Okay.
All the other churches pretty much in the Guantanamo district are houses that have been gutted that are not a church because you can't put a sign out there, but they're a house. But there's like 400 people meeting inside of that house every Sunday.
For a couple of hours every Sunday. So,
and the whole neighborhood can hear them.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. Post-COVID, real quick, what is your ministry, what does your mission field kind of look like? You said you were helping electronically. How's that been working out for you guys?
It really is just communication at this point.
Okay.
You know,
helping with infrastructure and all that?
Helping more with continuing some support. And I'll explain why. When you become a pastor in the Methodist church down there, you do the pastor makes a small salary. Now, their small salary was the equivalent of about $15 to $20 a month, and that's a typical Cuban salary. So, and by the way, all kinds of crazy things have happened with the currency lately that has made it even harder for them. Yeah. So what happens is that when somebody becomes a pastor, the wife also, and they do have female pastors as well, but the spouse ends up having to help out with the church as well. Very similar to what happens here, except they don't get paid extra, but they lose that income. And so many times pastors are living below the poverty level, even by their standards. So what we do is we raise support, and we have most of our pastors supported with that additional $25 a month so that they at least have a living wage, you know, and so that they can survive. So we've been able to continue that support financially, getting funds down there. Unfortunately, Cuba's completely closed with COVID. They're still in Guantanamo. They're in lockdown still. It's been very difficult, but the church has shined in this time. They're the ones miraculously finding food, God providing, them sharing with neighbors, seeing people get healed, seeing people come to the Lord, even with the struggles that they have right now.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. You mentioned the support real quick as we wrap up. How can Bay Hope Church, how can everybody listening to this, even if you don't go to Bay Hope, even if you're just kind of picking this up either on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or YouTube, how can we help out your two ministries? How can we be helping connect and do all that and give? Where can we go to?
No, absolutely. Cool. The sister church relationship is an ongoing relationship of Bay Hope Church. So as we're giving to the church and as funds are appropriated to missions, that is one of our focuses. So we already feeding into Bay Hope and missions.
BayHope.com/give right there.
Yeah. If you want to give, if you want to support a pastor directly, CubaMinistry.org.
Okay. CubaMinistry.org.
CubaMinistry.org. That is Methodists United in Prayer. Okay. And what that is a covenant that we made with our sister churches down in Cuba. And that's a way that we can actually raise funds. And it's a 501c3. It's separate than Bay Hope. Sure. But it is a 501c3 under the umbrella, of Methodism. But there, you would go and click on, if you want to give, you can go and click on give, and then you will find Guantanamo as a district. That's the one that we represent. And you can give to support a pastor or to the general fund, and then give there. You can do a recurring, you can do a one-time, whatever. And if you just want to talk to me, by all means, I'm happy to even give my personal information so that I love talking about Cuba. So
we'll have all of Sam's information in the description of this video if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, or in the show notes if you're listening to the audio version. Sam, thank you so much, man.
Yeah, brother. Thank you, man.
Absolutely. So good to have him here. We love what they're doing down in Guantanamo. Again, all of those stories, a lot of the images and stuff that you've seen on our social media that looks like it's not from Florida, it's usually from Guantanamo. There's even one of my favorite videos that was in our B-roll, our pre-service, was I think Pastor Matthew dancing with a kid from Guantanamo, maybe around his shoulders, or he was like dancing with somebody. And then all of a sudden it flashed all these like colorful houses, and I went, oh, I want to go to there. And then Andre, who actually cut that video, said, yeah, that's Guantanamo. That's when
Guantanamo.
I went down there. I was like, oh man, that is
beautiful. And that music that they were playing, that's the stuff we recorded.
Man, that's fantastic.
It's so good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sam, thanks so much for joining us. Like I said, all the information is going to be in the description of this video. Thank you so much for joining us on this very special episode of The Weekday. We will talk to you soon. Hey, thanks for tuning in to Bay Hope TV. Be sure to like and share these videos with your friends, as it really does help this channel out. And be sure to subscribe for more Bay Hope TV content. As always, thanks for watching.